heights of achievement. And now a challenge is to be thrown out to us by the man who had the vision to summon the people of the Old Dominion to this momentous conclave. Governor Mills Godwin Jr. needs no introduction. He is known to each of you as an able, forward-looking, imaginative leader, a man who has accomplished much already for the greater glory of the Commonwealth. His leadership on behalf of education is his greatest contribution of all. It is an honor to present to you Governor Godwin, who will now deliver the keynote address for this conference. Governor Godwin.
Mr. Chairman, Governors Darden and Governors Harrison, distinguished guests, and my fellow Virginians. 95 days ago, I issued a call for this conference. I did so then out of a firm belief that the time had come to inscribe new and higher benchmarks by which to measure education in this state. Since then, the response from every section of Virginia demonstrates beyond all doubt that our people, too, are ready for such a reappraisal. Let our purpose then be clear as we meet here today. I have not asked you in order that we might engage in mutual congratulations over what has already been done, impressive though that record surely is. This is not a time nor a place for looking back, for it is to the future that we are concerned here this morning. It is a time instead to examine education as we have never done before, to find its weakness and its strength, to assess its needs in the light of the Virginia, which is now taking shape around us, and of her place in a nation speeding to new heights. It is a time to look within ourselves, to ask what we really mean when we say that education must come first in our public and in our private obligations. Each one of us has felt within his own life the throb of this state's growth. In our hearts, we know that for the first time in nearly a century of public schooling, that Virginia can afford to spread throughout education the excellence that we have already built into some of its segments. With this knowledge, then it is time to ask if we can aim for any less than this. Surely there are great expectations among our people. For a decade, they have channeled millions into our public schools and colleges. Their only complaint that there was not more to put to this good work. A month ago, with hardly a murmur of protest, they shouldered a major new tax, the first in more than a century. They did so believing these revenues also would flow into our schools and colleges, filling in still more of their shortcomings, relieving still more of their limitations, broadening all of their possibilities. This much, then, we will surely do, and judging by past effort, it will be a giant step. Our public schools will begin earlier. They will range a field of knowledge far more widely and instill in the next generation of Virginians far greater depth and capability. We will have made vast new provisions for the advance guard of the young legions marching on our colleges and our universities. But however swift this advance may be, and however gratifying to each citizen, our people have not yet cried enough. Your presence here acknowledges the task is not yet ended. And you are so right. For what we do in these 2 years will largely be a catching up with our sister states. There will still be too few that we can say that we have passed by. We will fall into catastrophic error if we rest now, assuming the major part of our work is done. As yet, not all of our people have seen the light. Some of our localities whose public schools cannot compete by any measure are reducing their support for those schools still further with the prospect of new statewide revenues. Even if every public school in Virginia feels the full impact of the new tax funds, there will remain a great chasm between one public school and another across the state. Distressed parents will still write the governor, hurt and perplexed because their sons and daughters did not receive sufficient preparation to gain admission to the college of their choice. Careers for artisans and craftsmen and technicians will still go begging in our industries in spite of the new rewards and the new prestige they have to offer. And the flood of the new college students, for whom we have nearly doubled our total college plant in the past decade, will be asking us to triple those classrooms and laboratories in the next 14 years and by 1980. 7 months ago, there were those who in good conscience disagreed when the General Assembly of Virginia insisted that the state sales tax be moved upward by another 1% in 1968. For the members of that body to establish such a precedent took faith and courage. In politics, there is no greater horror than a tax increase. But the members of the legislature were prompted by the still stronger urging of Virginia's coming needs. My own conviction grows with every passing day that time will prove their statesmanship. For I would not deceive you. I would not lull you into the benign belief that all is now serene in education. There will still be pockets of procrastination across our land where Virginia children, shortchanged in their public schooling, will cast an accusing shadow upon our collective conscience. Proper expectations of the rewards of higher learning will still go unfulfilled. But we have begun, and the excitement of that striving has captured the imagination of the people of our Commonwealth. We would do well to read the signs of their enthusiasm before it sours into discontent. For even as we sit here this morning, a world at which we can only guess is taking shape. The world in which our children will live. A world far smaller as we measure time and space, but one infinitely larger as we measure opportunity for those who are prepared. Already in Virginia, we have condensed a century of progress into a decade, and still relentlessly, the pace of change continues and increases. Precedents and concepts we thought unshakable have been overturned or they have been washed away. However mightily we might wish that it were not so, it is time to shed the comfortable arguments, the warm and familiar excuses, the pleasant encumbrances of the old ways, for we know in our hearts that they will not and they cannot serve us now. If we must look for inspiration, as indeed we often do, we will find examples suited to our needs. There, for instance, is the towering figure of Thomas Jefferson, proposing to the General Assembly of Virginia his plan for public education and suffering a bitter and an undeserved defeat. Not for 1 century was his dream to be realized. You and I are still today paying the price of that delay. Or there is William Barton Rogers, the eloquent Virginia professor, pleading more than half a century later for a pitiful $15,000 to begin a pioneer school of applied science. Again, his defeat was Virginia's loss. He planted the seed for MIT, and it took root and blossomed in New England. Today, men of vision once more pleading with us on behalf of every schoolboy, every undergraduate, every graduate, and every postgraduate student. And what will our answer be? Will we turn away Will we cheer from some safe distance, or will we plunge into the work nearest to our hand? There is not one of us here today who would deny his love for Virginia. And my friends, it is time to put to work this devotion that bids us make her once again first among the states. So let us begin here today with our purpose clear before us. Together let us kindle an evangelical fire, and let us keep it bright until it ignites the faintest hearts and warms the coldest feet. Let us go forth from this place today as advocates, apostles, and prophets, each in his own way, to advance the cause that unites us all, the proper instruction of the young people of this great Commonwealth. Then indeed we will have served Virginia well and bequeathed to her children a legacy beyond price, and one worthy of our day and generation. I thank you.